Hey folks. Well, I didn't think I'd be talking about my main computer again so soon, but something awesome happened. And you're about to find out what that is. Although you probably know from the title anyway. Anti-static bag. What is this? Oh yeah, check that out. I got the official VDR package. See, this is what I got from Sean here. I got a Core i7-2600. This CPU, I didn't think I would be getting this so soon. I thought I'd have to wait till the summer. But it turns out that I have awesome friends yet again. And he's let me pay for this all installments. So, sweet. Official CPU of Sean Van D. Reed. Or Windows and Macintosh here on YouTube. No problems ever. This was in a ASRock Fatality P67 motherboard. There's the man himself. 636. Aw, yeah. He's let me pay this thing off monthly, which is fantastic, and he gave me a really good deal on it. I would have paid a lot more elsewhere, so yeah. VDR, you're the man. All right, let's take a look at the CPU itself. Nope, that's just a regular 2600 apparently. No, it's not a 2600K. I thought it was. Whatever. Still an i7. That's all I need. So this is a 2600. That's a much needed upgrade from the Core i3-2105 that's in my system right now. And while that's a really good chip, you can start to see it kind of struggle when you export video. And that's what this i7 is for, is so I can export video a little bit faster. I can survive just fine on the i3, but this will suit my needs much better, and hopefully I will be able to keep the CPU for a long time. I plan to not upgrade my system again, hopefully until like 2016 or 2017, so hopefully this will hold me over for that long. So, without further ado, let's upgrade. Alright, here's the old CPU and the new one. Here's the Core i3-2105. I'm not getting rid of this chip because it's been a really good chip to me. Like, it's been an awesome chip. And it has Intel HD 3000 graphics, so it's pretty good. And here we have the Core i7-2600, which will be replacing it. There's your difference. They look almost the same, really. So, I'm going to wipe the CPU off, and I've already wiped the heatsink off. This is the heatsink I use, by the way. It's a Dynatron heatsink. The Intel stock ones are terrible. These are what you want. So, yeah, let's get this i7 in there and give it a go. And the CPU has been reinstalled with its cooler right there. Now, the way I applied the paste to the CPU, since this is a quad-core CPU, I spread the grease evenly on the CPU surface with a credit card. Well, actually not a credit card, an old school ID actually, but you know, a credit card form factor type of piece of plastic thing. That's how I like to do it with quad cores. If you're running a single or a dual core, you can get away with doing the dot in the middle trick, but for anything past that, or basically anything that runs really hot, I would spread it on the CPU so that you get the most even heat transfer you can. And that's what I did with this i7. Plus, I don't want to have to even touch this i7 for another 2 or 3 years. So I just want this system to run as is for that long. So, I mean, the only thing I might change is the OS or the graphics card or something, but even this graphics card should last me 2 or 3 years just fine. So this is the system as I want to keep it for the next 2 years, 2-3 years. I keep saying that. I said that with my AMD build, but this is a very good build. Sandy Bridge I really like, and according to some people I know, the 2600K and 2700K have solder underneath of the lids for the CPU. I can't speak for the 2600, but I know it has better TIM if it isn't solder than the Ivy Bridge chips do. So, yay! Let's hook this thing back up and check it out. I had a weird problem with Windows 8. I booted it up, and it still showed in this window. It still showed the CPU as a Core i3-2105. So I looked at CPU-Z. It showed Core i7. So I had to go into Device Manager and delete the CPUs in Device Manager, then reboot. And now it recognizes the i7 properly. So this is running, now this computer is running Intel Core i7-2600, 3.4 gigahertz, but it looks like it's running at 3.7. So, sweet. This takes me back to when I had my Ivy Bridge 3770K. But of course, I don't trust the thermal interface material under those chips. The Sandy Bridge ones are night and day compared to that. And some of the Sandy Bridge chips even use solder under the CPU lids, and I've heard the 26 and 2700Ks are known for that. I don't know about the 2600 itself. I'd assume it would because it's an i7, but I don't know. Either way, pretty kick-ass upgrade. Very happy with this. Hopefully I can keep this machine at these specs for quite a long time. I think 16 gigs of RAM and an i7 should last me easily 2 or 3 more years. So, there you have it, guys. That was a short upgrade. Thank you very much, VDR, for making this upgrade happen. And especially for giving me such a good deal on this thing. You are the man. If you want to go check him out, he is YouTube user Windows and Macintosh. I'll put a link down to his channel in the description as well. So, there you go. Not that exciting of a video, but there you go. Part of testing this new CPU will be rendering this new video, so that's gonna be cool. Anyway, guys, there you go. Now my system is exactly the way I want to keep it for the foreseeable future. An i7, 16 gigs of RAM, good to go. So there you have it, guys. Well, folks, looks like I have to backpedal with my upgrade to Windows 8 on this computer. I've been having a lot of problems after the past couple days. It seems like the first day everything was completely fine. Then after, like, I guess this is the second or third day, I've noticed some strange issues. SpeedFan caused a major blue screen that made the entire system just hiccup and be slow as all hell after a first reboot. Then a second reboot, it started working fine. I had that NVIDIA driver issue, and apparently that happens on Windows 7 too. I don't know for sure, but I've had that issue with Halo 2 for Windows. I can't check my CPU temps with SpeedFan. I haven't tried Core Temp, but I've heard Core Temp does the same thing. It gave me that blue screen. Now when I try to start SpeedFan, it just gives me an error message. So I've had some really stupid problems with Windows 8.1. I even had sound issues. I was about to edit a video actually, and suddenly the sound stopped working. And it seems like the newer drivers for Windows 8 don't work right. I had the sound just plain stop working 3 times. I installed an older Windows 7 driver, and it seems to work fine now. But there are little quirks and oddities with Windows 8 that are driving me crazy. The OS I do like. It runs very fast, but it doesn't seem to support, or maybe it just doesn't agree with this motherboard all too well. Not sure why. It's a 2011 board. It should run it just fine, but whatever the case may be, I don't feel like dealing with these problems, so I'm going to go back to Windows 7. The good news is that Windows 8 runs very, very well on my bedside computer, so I'll leave it on there. But I'm going to go back to 7 on this particular machine. So, yeah, it was worth a shot. You know, I had to experiment with it to see whether it worked, and that's why I upgraded, basically. And I can see it working well on this computer, but it just doesn't seem to... It just doesn't seem to. Yeah. So back to Windows 7 Professional we go. Alright, I got Windows 7 back on this machine. That was easy. Everything is back in order. I did this all in one day, too. I didn't reformat. I just installed it on the same drive and had it plop everything in Windows.old and went from there, and it works fine now. So it's unfortunate because this is a good motherboard, but it doesn't fully support Windows 8 properly. And I'm not sure if that's... I don't think it's Gigabyte's fault, because the problem that I was having, I've pretty much narrowed down to chipset drivers, and that's Intel. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe Windows 8 rushed in a new breed of PCs that support UEFI differently or something like that, but clearly this motherboard just doesn't get along with Windows 8 very well. It was worth the experiment, though. So there you have it. So Windows 7 will probably remain on this machine for the remainder that I have it, which I'm going to guess is 2 to 3 years, maybe even longer than that, depending on how well it ages and lasts. So Windows 7 is good. I'm going to keep it on here. Plus it fits the machine. It's period correct because it's a 2011 motherboard, so I'm happy with that. So now that I've upgraded to a Core i7-2600, I have 16 gigs of RAM. The only thing I really expect to ever do is put bigger hard drives in this, and that really be it. At least for the future of this machine. So this Windows 8 experiment was interesting. It proved one thing, that this board is not the best to run Windows 8.1 Update 1 on. But my bedside computer is, so I'll leave it on that, but not use it on here, and I'm fine with that. The bedside computer was built for Windows 8. This board was not, so there you have it. The problems I was having really reminded me of when Vista first came out and how it kind of didn't support hardware properly. Very similar stuff is happening here. So I guess not unlike Vista, it's the bad apple. The Windows, it's usually like every other version is good. So I guess this is the bad apple that's going to have issues. But Windows 7 is one of the most stable things ever on this board. So is Linux, actually. So I'm going to use both on this particular motherboard. But more than likely, just keep with Windows 7 on this build, because that's what I use as a daily driver. So there you go. Enough of my rambling. I've moved back to Windows 7 on this computer because it works the way I want it to, and it works properly. So unfortunately, I had to backpedal. It was worth a shot, though. You know, you got to experiment with PCs sometimes to see what your computer is comfortable with, or else, you know, how will you know? Anyway, guys, I just thought I'd let you know that I went back to Windows 7 on my main computer for compatibility reasons, basically, and yeah, there you have it. Watch out for this on your machines. If you have a board that doesn't explicitly say supports Windows 8, it might not work properly. That's not to say that boards from back then won't, but sometimes they might not have the proper chipset support, like this one apparently does. This one has that issue anyway. So there you have it, folks. Have a good one, everybody. Ciao.